here in Chicago at the IACA Conference and spoke with vendors at the trade show to talk about their technology for law enforcement. So here we go.
My name is Tim Massard. I'm the COO of Iris Tech. My background is I was in the Army for 9.5 years as a Russian linguist, was an Intel analyst when I was in the military, and so when I got out, I stayed as an instructor at the Military Intelligence School in San Angelo, Texas. Worked a little bit of a gig for about 6 months at the FBI office in Miami, Florida, and then ended up for 3 years in Brooklyn, New York, working for the U.S. Attorney's Office. So I did not only military analysis, but then got into doing some law enforcement analysis and some financial crimes analysis when I was at the Eastern District of New York. So a few years ago, I moved down to Florida, connected with my current business partner, Mike G. Lombardo, and we started another company called Total Intelligence Group. And through that, we ended up rolling out our current company and current product, Iris. We are an all-veteran company, so I was like I said, I was a Russian linguist when I was an analyst. We have Mike G. Lombardo, who's our CEO. He is still currently in Florida National Guard, but he was an interrogator when he was in the military. And then our lead developer and programmer, Jason Shea, he was a former Army Ranger. So we all have that kind of connection together. And for us, being military, we like to have a product that is very easy to use. You don't have a lot of time in some situations, and when you're trying to get a product that is comfortable for analysts to use, but then also for your patrol and your deputies and everyone else to use, you want to keep it as simple as possible. So there's not a lot of clicks, there's not a lot of buttons, there's not a big training time on it. This is something very easy to use because in the military, that's what it was. If it was easy to use, people were using it. If it was too complicated, there's too many steps, there's too many drop downs, people aren't going to use it. Iris is a request for information processing platform. So right now the big struggle, and a lot of agencies are doing this, is all the requests are coming in via email, right? So what happens to email when you're sending it to an alias email? You're going to get emails that are lost, you're going to get intel that's lost, and also really with cybersecurity right now, a lot of the issues that are happening are email compromise, where that's how they're getting in the system. So with Iris, it's a web-based platform that's in Microsoft Azure. We comport with the CJIS policies and everything like that ourselves, so we go through an audit every year. But this allows requests to be submitted not only internally from an agency, but also external agencies. So we allow our members of Iris to give out guest accounts to any agency they want to. So those people do not have to have Iris, but they can now submit a request through Iris. It all flows. It's a grid system. They can see when the request comes in. They can assign who works on it. They build a really nice product on the end that's going to take all the information that the analyst is going to pull from some of these other data sources. They're going to bring it in and kind of compile it, and then they're going to send that report out, but it all stays within the platform. So you're no longer emailing CGI data or CRI data or law enforcement sensitive data via email with they always put the little caveat on the bottom because they think that covers them, but it's not necessarily secure. With Iris being cloud-based, the agency is the one that controls who has access to it, and then there's so many audit tools in there that they know who's accessed it and what they've done during that process. So it's really, it focuses more on the process of receiving and processing a request and sending it out. So instead of using email and then transferring that to Excel to track and to assign and then building a product, you do that all within Iris, and it gives you a nice overview of what the process is. But then also the security issue of it is removed since you're using Microsoft and stuff like that. So we have a website. It's irisintelgroup.com. Otherwise, I'll put my cell phone number out there. It's 719-344-3480. It's my personal cell phone. I do have a work number, but I always tell people I hate carrying two phones. So I always answer my cell number itself. So feel free to give me a call. We can set up a virtual demo. We like coming to conferences like this. We've been very busy doing demos and stuff like that. So we really like that face-to-face connection that IACA offers. One thing as an analyst is you have to keep learning. Criminals learn faster than what we learn and adopt to. And so if you're not attending trade shows, you're not doing training at the state and local levels, you're not belonging to associations like the FCIA and the IACA, and you're not getting that training, you're missing out on really what's happening currently in crime analysis. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes and one of the biggest things that analysts can correct themselves is just by joining the associations. They get free training, like on the IACA page, there's free training that they can take, or very cheap training they can take advantage of. They should do it because it's only going to increase their marketability, but also helping them through their process, because it does take special individual to be an analyst. You can't, you don't generally want to take someone that doesn't have that aptitude for kind of figuring things out. You can teach some of that, but I think as an analyst, continuing to learn and continue to kind of hone your craft and learn from some of the people that are here, like Mike Winslow and Brittany Willis and some of the other analysts and board members that have years of experience, learning from them and how they operate is hands down some of the best training you can get.
My name's Josh. I'm in charge of strategy for our law enforcement market here at LexisNexis. I started off as a crime analyst. I worked for the Scottsdale Police Department in Arizona, later for the Colorado Springs Police Department, then went to a small startup called Bear Analytics, and ultimately came to LexisNexis and into this role. So LexisNexis actually came to be shortly the product that everybody knows, Accurate for law enforcement, which is nationwide public record data, really came to be after 9/11, and as a result of the identified issue of, hey, we really need to know more and be able to connect that information, connect the dots faster. So we've been a public records company for a very long time, and then in recent years, back in 2015, we moved into this contributory law enforcement data space. And so the value is the foundation of public record data and some linking technology that we have called LexID. But then we have almost 2,000 agencies that contribute rich law enforcement data to us every day that's shared in a law enforcement only product that users can search nationwide and get really valuable insights from, little nuggets in the details of a case report that happened last year 4 states away that's germane to your case that you're working right now. And that's what we bring as a value to this user base. The one constant through our business and what we offer to crime analysts comes down to identity. If an analyst is working a case, they're looking at a pattern or a series or a trend, they're doing an investigative workup, if it involves an identity, which oftentimes it does, that's where we come into play. That's where we can take the public record data to enhance that identity. We can take contributory law enforcement data to show where that identity might have shown up, both in your jurisdiction, neighboring jurisdictions across the country. And even our new product, which is Accurate Tracks, which is all about the devices, looking at call detail records and the movement of devices. Again, as analysts, you don't really care where the device is, you care about the human holding that device and where that person might be. So it all comes down to identity, and that's what we're all about. We have a very prominent website, LexisNexis.com. We're at tons of trade shows. We've got another group called the Special Investigations Unit. So we've hired a lot of crime analysts and investigators that work for us now, and their whole job is to connect with analysts and connect with investigators to help on cases. It's a free service, it's not for profit, but it allows us to use our tools and our insights, connect with folks in the field doing the job every day, help where we can, and as a business, we get a lot of insights from that. It's helpful for us to get that feedback of, well, here's this new trend that's happening, or this was an interesting case, and what can we learn from that, and how do we apply that later and down the road in our product development. As a former crime analyst and moving into the vendor space and now being in a strategy role, my perspective is that crime analysts have a voice. Your voice matters. Your value to the agency is increasing year over year over year. We've all seen that over the past decade even. But your voice matters too in the tools that you get. And so if there's a product that's important to you, if there's an application or a service out there that you really see value in, use your voice in your agency. Champion that to your chiefs, explain why it's going to help you help them, and don't be afraid to use your voice.
I'm Lieutenant Steve Lewis. I'm a retired lieutenant out of Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office in Tampa, Florida. I retired after 30 years of service. I'm currently the association manager for the IHIA. The IHIA, what we do, we've been around for about 30 years. We were developed out of the VICAP program, which I know many analysts use on a day-to-day basis when they're working on homicide investigations. But we were developed out of that, and it's all about bringing training to investigators around the world. We have members on 6 different continents. We network just like IACA does. We have a database of memberships where they can reach out to speak to investigators around the world to help solve their cases. It's the same kind of format. And we're a nonprofit group who brings training to the investigators. We travel around the United States, and in fact we were in Bogota, Colombia early this year, so we're starting to get more internationally getting some training out to international folks in their region, not just having to come to us. We're a nonprofit organization and we're low cost. We're partnered with the FBI, so all of our training is vetted with them, and we make sure it's the top-notch training that we're getting out to folks. I think our organization, we bring the investigators and the analysts together. We get them to start working together as a team. Our training that we do we do a lot of social media training, a lot of cell phone stuff in the regional training that we do, and it brings them together to understand that they need to work with each other and not just have an analyst in another room saying, hey, count the numbers for me and give that to the commanders. They're part of the investigative team, and we understand that. That's why we've partnered with IACA to bring that together. Here's one piece of advice for the analysts out there is come to our website, IHIA.org. It'll show that we're not about homicide detectives, we're about the whole investigative team, and analysts are an integral part of that team. IHIA.org.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the All About Analysis channel. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like, hit subscribe, click that bell, and don't forget to share this video. See you next time.